lot for this. Let's talk about signs.
Yes. So fun. I've had the most fun experience with signs in the last week, and I am super excited. I think a lot of clients, when they come to me, just like they do for you, they say, I don't feel like I'm seeing any signs.
Yes.
And I understand the frustration. But I think a lot of the times our own bias gets in the way. First of all, we talk ourselves out of the signs that we're getting. We say, oh, that's a coincidence. Oh, that's this. Oh, that's that. And that, the thing is you have to remember if everything's connected, it's connected. It doesn't mean that just because you don't understand it in the moment that it's not connected.
Yes.
However, something that I've never done before, I actually did this week, which is be specific about the sign I asked for, right? So otherwise, I'm kind of walking around and I'm looking for things. I'm like, oh, maybe that's a sign, maybe that's a sign. This time I decided to be specific. So this started on Wednesday. And Wednesday, I was kind of in my feels about things. I had some imposter syndrome hanging out with me.
Oh,
And so I kind of asked the universe, I said, listen, I need a real sign. I need to know for sure that I'm on the right track. And I don't want to mistake this. I don't want there to be a question. Right. So I said, I would like to see a unicorn today. If I'm on the right path, I'd like to see a unicorn. And when I said that, I genuinely believed that I could see it, but I didn't understand how I could see it because I had no plans to leave my house. And I know I don't have any like unicorns hanging out in my house. So it's not like
right.
I'm going to see it. Right.
So when you ask for something specific.
Yes, and not something, don't ask to see a dog if you live
No.
in a neighborhood with 15 dogs, right?
Yeah.
Be
Or a
realistic about
chicken
this.
if you
Don't
have.
set yourself up, right? So I asked for this unicorn and I'm going about my day and I called my best friend at lunchtime. She's in the middle of packing up her house to move and she said she was hungry, so I took her lunch. And as I walk in her house, sitting on a bookshelf in her house is a little stuffed unicorn. Right there in the middle of nowhere. Like it doesn't belong there. She just happened to set it there because she's moving things around and there was the unicorn. So that was Wednesday. Thursday, I woke up and I thought, wow, that was really fun. That's exciting. And now that I have my confirmation, let's just see how far I can take this, right? So on Thursday, I woke up and I asked to see a dragon. Now, for those of you who don't know who I am, I do a lot of posting on TikTok. I do a morning report on all socials, but I usually start with TikTok. And when you post a video to TikTok, as that video is uploading, the algorithm will show you a couple videos from the For You page. The very first video that came up was a video about dragons. Very first one, right? So immediately I got my answer on that. That was on Thursday. Friday, again, I wake up and now I'm just having fun with it because I know I've got my confirmation. I'm just being silly and I asked to see an eagle. Now, I asked to see an eagle. I'm driving 7 hours to go see my son and had zero intention of spending a lot of time outdoors. Like I'm just going to see him. And about 3/4 of the way through the trip, I pull into a gas station. There's a big wooden carved sign, and it's a giant eagle right on the sign. Like it's a carved wooden eagle. Like it was huge. I could not have missed it. So that was Friday. Saturday, what did I ask? I'm losing track of what I asked for.
I
That was
know
the
at some
eagle.
point there was a tower.
Oh yeah. So
A lion.
Saturday,
A lion.
Saturday was the lion. So I asked to see a lion Saturday. We go to a parade and my husband is kind of pointing out this really cute little kid to me. He's like, "Oh my God, look at this little kid. He's so cute," and we're looking at him and the kid turns around, he's got a lion on his shirt, right? Then Sunday happens. All I'm doing Sunday is I'm planning to drive home. So I want to see an Eiffel Tower. That felt like something to ask for that felt so far fetched that it really, really is going to have to be arranged, right?
Mhm.
The whole day goes by. I get home from the drive. It's getting later. And I actually had the thought, oh, maybe I'm not going to see it. Okay, no big deal. And I made an update about the Schumann and I'm posting it to Facebook. And as it's posting to Facebook, I'm scroll down and the very next person is a friend of mine who happens to be in Paris. And there's a picture of her literally pointing at the Eiffel Tower behind her, right?
I love that.
Then this morning, I thought, okay, I'm really going to ask for something that no way I'm going to see this, right? So I asked to see a rhinoceros. I get on live here with Melissa, and look what's behind her is a rhinoceros. So every single day since
That's
Wednesday, I have asked for a specific sign. Yes, and it has shown up to me. But the key of this, I think, is you have to believe that this is gonna happen for you. You cannot ask for a sign and then doubt that you're gonna receive it, because the doubt will win out every time, because it will cause you to look away or be distracted or whatever. When
yep.
you ask for these signs, you have to believe that you're going to be able to receive this. You have to let go of how or what it's gonna look like. Like, I didn't know if I was gonna see, a real eagle, if I was gonna see a stuffed eagle. A wooden eagle was not on my list. You never know how it's gonna show up, so be open to how, but be sure about it, and all day long, I would remind myself, "I'm gonna see that unicorn today. I'm gonna see that unicorn today. I'm gonna see that
Yeah.
unicorn today," and there it was, you
And a
know?
lot of people think seeing is believing, but that is not true. If you believe, then you'll see.
Yes,
It is just an opposite. It is a shift,
it is
which
absolutely true.
so many things in life is just a tiny shift. Just shift it just a little bit.
Right,
Well,
and
I love that the rhino.
once you start to see it, you can't unsee it. They're
No.
everywhere, and it's kind of like
Yes.
those magic paintings where you have to relax your eyes and it pops out, but
Yeah.
once you see it, you're like, "Oh, yeah, it's been there the
Oh,
whole
there it
time."
is, staring
That's
at my
how it is
face.
for signs, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that makes me happy. I think it's fabulous. Just trusting that the universe is bringing you what you need, and that you can ask for signs. I always tell people, ask for a pink bunny with a purple tail and red ears and green eyes and white nose. I mean, be very specific. So I love that you were getting specific about what you want to
Well,
see.
and for me, that's a real stretch beyond my comfort zone, because up until then, I've never really been specific, because I've always been of the mindset, if it's a sign, I'll know it's a sign. If it's a sign, I'll know it's a sign. But I was sitting in such a feeling of doubt that I didn't believe that I would recognize the sign if it was just generically sent to me. So I
Yeah.
needed that confirmation, and it
Yes.
really did that for me.
Yes, I did a psychic detective retreat up in Seaback, Washington, and I really wanted to continue working with law enforcement. So as we left the weekend, a friend and I said, if I'm supposed to continue doing this, show me a sign, and I need to see a police officer. And then as we were leaving on this off ramp, there was a cop car pulled over, had a car pulled over, and I was like, no, I need to see it on the side of the road. And then like half a mile down the road, there was a motorcycle cop right pulled over. So I was like, okay, so ask for it and trust it and then believe it.
Right,
We'll
and then don't
believe it, ask
dissect
it,
it,
trust.
because it would be very easy to say, "Oh, well, it was a coincidence. You were driving through a town that had Eagle in the name," and right, that may be true, but as I got up that morning, I didn't cognitively know that I was
No.
gonna be doing that. It's not like I
Yes.
planned that, but I bet my
Yes.
guides were like, "Hey, that's an easy one. Alright," like,
Yes.
there's
Yes.
stuff like this. I you should be fun and be silly and make games, and that's where the higher feeling frequencies are. People talk about raising their vibration. Your vibration stays the same. It's your frequency that
It's
goes
your
up and down,
frequency.
okay?
And I do say raise your freaking
Because
vibration.
it's the vernacular, it's what everybody says, but realistically, it's your frequency that goes up and down. So if you focus
Yeah.
on something that feels better, joy has a faster frequency than sadness. Sadness is slower
Dense.
moving, it feels heavier, it feels dense. Joy is faster moving, it comes in and goes out. And when you focus on that, it becomes more of a part of your overall frequency, helping to align you with those things more easily. But you
Yes.
have to be okay with saying, I'm going to go ahead and believe this for a hot second.
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to do a little twist here. But you were talking about faster, higher density and how things go faster. When I am doing mediumship readings and spirit starts to come in, they will come in fast and hard. And it's like I can't say it fast enough to get it out of my head because
Yes.
they come in with such quick. It's almost like a dream state where most of your dreams are like in this much time.
Yes.
You've slept this much time, but you're just trying to grab as much as you
Right.
can
And
because it
that's from my understanding, that's because they're trying to communicate with you from a density that's moving faster vibrationally
yes,
than we are. So you have
yes,
to go up and they have to come
yes,
down. You kind of meet in the middle. And then
yes,
they're doing their best to get everything out, because just like
yes,
you have to hold that space, they also have to hold that space.
correct. And they have to understand how to communicate with us using our information. So they have to be able to trigger. And some do that better than others. Some are
Right.
able to come in and just like me, some spirits or energies, I can give you 1,000 pieces of validation. Some I'm like, I got two.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Right.
but all vibrations are a little change. Uh, I just want to say to everybody, hi to everybody who popped in. And as we're seeing signs, we have just 24 people on here right now, which is crap. 24 has been my number, and it's my birthday. But every time, but I've been seeing it like the last week everywhere I look. 24 and 1111.
Nice.
Are you getting the 11s a
I'm
lot?
getting a lot of numbers, but my guides, that's one of those things that I get a real big kick out of. Like, I love seeing repeated numbers. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things. And so my guides will always do that. Something that I have learned through my own experience and that can be useful is something I've noticed is when you start seeing a lot of signs and synchronicities close together, back to back to back, it's kind of like playing the hot and cold game with your guides.
Yeah.
You'll get more and more synchronicities the closer you get to where you want to go. It's like
Yeah.
motivation. Yes, come on, keep coming this way. Here's a carrot,
Yes. Yes.
When
Popcorn,
those
breadcrumbs.
synchronicities, right, exactly. When those synchronicities slow down or start spacing out really far, it's a good opportunity for us to reevaluate where we're focused. Where are we taking our attention away from where we want it to be?
Yeah.
And it's just a good way to sort of use your guides in addition to everything else they have to offer.
Yes. Yes. My guides failed me a couple weeks ago. I had taken my truck in for an oil change and saw this cop um, come flying up towards me, and I was like, "Come on! I am a teetotaler. I am like I don't break the law. I don't even stretch it. I am a teetotaler." So I was like, "I'm pretty sure I didn't do anything." And he pulled me over. My tabs were expired, so
Oh,
I looked at my husband. I was like, because you had one job, honey. You had one job. I don't know
well,
why did I
but
go there? I
if you
went there
want to
for a
look at
reason.
it from a different perspective, perhaps you were pulled over to avoid something that was down the road a little bit,
Somebody
right?
else, somebody else said that too. And then I had a friend, and she's like, "So your guides didn't help you with that?" Because I always ask my guides, "Is there a place I need to worry about speeding? Is there?" Well, and I didn't on this day, but I wasn't
Yeah.
speeding. I was just.
But I tend to believe guides don't make mistakes.
I don't think
So
so.
they see the bigger
I don't
picture.
think so.
So maybe they were
Yeah.
like, hold on a second. Let's just hold you right here for a hot minute while
Yeah.
this weirdo comes flying through the
Right.
intersection.
Oh, I
You
love
know,
that. Yeah. Right.
my grandmother, she was my great grandmother. My great grandma Margaret used to say that if you forgot something and had to go back in the house, you should always say a quick prayer because it's God or whatever holding you back just long enough for something to pass beyond you. She always said, if you feel like you left the stove on, you go back in that house.
Yeah.
If you feel like you did something, you go back in that house because you're being called there for a reason. But she said it like this, but it had the same meaning.
I actually did a reading today where I was channeling somebody with a little bit of I don't want to say an impediment, but a different dialect. And I was like,
Twang.
why am I talking like this?
A twang,
That was
right? Yeah.
awesome.
My family is from the mountains of Virginia, right? So
Are you
my
kidding me?
no,
My grandma's family's from Virginia,
really?
the Whites. And I was terrified because there was a show about the marvelous whites on, I think it was like HBO. Just a very interesting, intriguing group of people.
No, I don't
I
know
was like,
anything about
oh
the
Lord.
whites, but I do know that my grandfather's family was from Franklin County, Virginia, which is the moonshine capital of the world.
Oh.
And they were definitely moonshiners and they definitely broke some laws.
They broke some
I'm
laws.
I'm very aware. I mean,
That's awesome.
my grandmother, my family is very young, right? So my great grandmother, grandmother, mother, myself, and my daughter were all alive at the same time because my
Oh,
family is very young because
yes.
my great grandmother was married when she was like 14. And then my grandmother was married when she was 16. She was a widow with 3 children at 20.
Oh my. Oh.
And then she went on to marry many, many times after that. And so
Oh
I have a
heavens.
very large family. But, it's just interesting how culture has changed. Things have changed over time.
Yes.
Um, and seeing that I've actually been married the longest of anyone in my family at this point, which is really interesting. I broke a couple stereotypes. I'm the first one to get a bachelor's degree. I was the first one to get a master's degree. I'm the first one to stay married, you know.
Oh. So you're
Um,
breaking some generational trauma. Um, Maybe that's a segue into a conversation because a lot of people have been talking about curses.
yeah,
I personally don't buy into them. I do
I don't
believe if
either.
we believe in them, we're making them real.
Correct. Because I do believe law of attraction is far stronger than anyone else's will over me. So, yes, I agree.
100%. So, where was I going with that? Yeah, shit.
You said something about ancestral healing and trauma.
Oh, and curses. So it's not ancestral curses because I have heard people say, I think it's a curse that's been in my family. No, it's not. It's generational trauma that's in your family that's getting handed down from behaviors. So
Right.
I
Like a
don't.
memory. It's like a memory that you hold in your body, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes part of your DNA because you've held it there so long. Kind of like if you lean a bicycle up against a tree for long enough, it becomes part of the tree,
Yes. Grows
right?
into it.
And so
Yes.
to pull that bicycle out, you got to do some deep cutting
Yeah.
sometimes. And that can be very uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
it is very powerful when you do those things.
Yes. Yep. That was actually a really cool way of explaining that. So yay. Good.
Yay.
Good job. Good job. Oh wow. So okay. So generational trauma being
Oh, we
kind
have
of
a Virginia born and raised in the comments over here, Allison.
Allison.
My dad was in the Air Force, so I grew up in Virginia. I was born in Virginia, but I spent a lot of time not in Virginia as a kid, so I don't have much of an accent unless I go home.
Uh,
If I go home for
and that
any
comes
length of
back.
time, it invades my life very quickly.
Oh, we have. I'm just scrolling up. We lived in North Carolina when my husband was in the Marine Corps, and I got that twang while we were down there. Okay,
Yeah.
but it went away as soon as we came back here.
Yeah, I'm just glad I don't have too much of a Chicago accent because my husband sounds like a wise guy.
Oh,
I know a guy.
That sounds like Minnesota.
Oh, he's,
Oh,
over there,
over there,
you guys.
you guys.
I'm gonna go to the Jewel.
Your husband does that.
Yeah, he's
That's
Chicago born and
awesome.
bred for
I wanted to talk about timeline shift just a tiny bit because I have noticed what I feel is timeline shifting or timeline collapse.
yeah.
I will have certain memories that are just vivid out of the blue for no reason from from when I was little or some and to me what I kept getting with that was timeline collapse.
Yes, timeline collapse and shedding of a belief around that memory, right? So your psyche does its best, your ego does its best to protect you. This is the way I understand stuff like that.
Mhm.
Your ego does its best to protect you. That's its job. And so
Yeah,
sometimes memories that you're having trouble processing your way through
yeah,
emotionally will be pushed to the side. As we start to tap in and actually do the healing work and bring up those things, those memories will resurface because now you're in a place to deal with them. And much like collapsing timelines, you're compacting things together so that you can make room for something else.
love that.
Um, yeah. So I've had a lot of people say that to me, a lot of clients. I've experienced it myself. I've had memories come up that 5 minutes before, I'm like, "What are you talking about? I would have never remembered that." And then all
Right.
of a sudden something triggers it.
Okay. I was going to try to respond here real quick, and I don't know if I can without. So, Lisa, I'm going to give you the number 21. We can continue talking. So I do this thing when I go live is Spirit knows that they can give me a number that connects to somebody's vibration. And then you guys got to go look it up yourself, but I'll give you the number that I'm getting for you. And we can still keep talking.
Oh,
And, I,
nice. Okay.
and I'll just word vomit, whatever.
Yeah. So Allison said something about timeline collapse. More details, please.
Yes.
It depends on what you're talking about. We can get super, super nerdy with this one. I'm excited,
Oh,
right?
I'm nerdy. Let's do it.
So when we talk about timelines, you have to remember that you have your own timeline and then you're also part of other collective timelines, right? Your individual timeline is shifting hundreds, thousands of times per day based on where you are focused. Okay. If you, the best visual I've been given for this is if you imagine an old fashioned movie, what's the word? Projector, right? And it's projecting out, and it has in a room full of movie strips hanging down. Wherever you point that projector is what's going to be on the wall in front of you. So you're constantly shifting all day long through these mini timelines that you are part of, and they're made up of possibility and probability. Your attention to things makes the timeline or the particle function of energy collapse from a particle into a wave, and that goes from possibility to probability, and that's when you shift into the timelines, right? But we
Okay.
also belong to collective timelines. So we all are part of a collective human timeline, and then there's the US timeline, and then there's other timelines. So there's all kinds of movement. Big timeline shifts typically, in my experience, happen for the collective when momentum has gained enough speed to, like a train, just shift over to the next track. I don't typically get any information about going backwards, but it's always about going forwards. Like when we have enough momentum of people waking up, we will make a shift. When we have enough momentum of people tapping in, we will have a shift. When we have enough things being exposed in our public, like look at Nepal right now, right? Look at what's happening in the countries around the world right now. All of this stuff is being brought to the surface, and it's shifting the collective movement of our timelines. I believe that there's a division in timelines. There's an awakened timeline and an unawakened timeline. And it's not that you can't be aware of the other one when one is there. It's just, it's like a glass wall. It's kind of like
Yes.
you can choose to look at it or not. But when you choose to look at it, you invite it into your space.
Yes. That
So
makes
hopefully,
sense.
hopefully that answered, hopefully that answered the question. I
No, that
kind of,
was, well, what it was getting triggered for me is this morning when I was doing a group, what came up was and I wrote it down, so I had to go back to my notes from this morning. Um, what I heard was the true essence of humanity is revealing itself. And that oddly felt connected to what you were saying about the shifts in the timeline, because we're speeding up enough in order to jump.
yes. And we just went through a timeline jump. Right?
That was
So
on, yeah,
that
okay.
was last night, right before the equinox.
Okay.
So if you can zoom out, like I tell people, don't get too zoomed in. Zoom out and look at the big picture. When you look at the placement of planets in astrology right now,
Yes.
the way our sun has been acting, we have weird interstellar objects showing up for some reason. We're discovering stuff under the pyramids. We have governments being overthrown. We have all this stuff happening. This is literally showing up, and they all sync together. They all line up. If you zoom out, you can see the bigger picture of that.
Okay. I got to do something. I'm trying to get this message to Ashley and it keeps going to Shannon. I don't know why. Like, I don't want to give it to Shannon. I already gave it to Shannon. Sorry, guys. Okay, go.
No, that's okay.
Okay. So repeat that last part about we've gone into a huge shift. The equinoxes.
Well, everything is lining up. Like if you look at the planet placements in astrology and the Vedic cycles
Yes.
and the turnings, and all these things, everything is lining up to show us we are ending something huge and we're stepping into something very different. Even in how we have named our generations, we're
Yeah.
ending on Z and stepping into Alpha. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. And it's, if you can zoom out and just look at the placement of how everything is working out, I think it's hard to deny that we're in a state of so much change.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We can't get away from it. It's like in our
And
faces right
depending
now.
on who you talk to, changes the type of change that's being experienced, right? Like people ask me all the time, like, well, not all the time. People ask me about the recent events in the US of the assassination of this person, right?
Yeah.
Before that day, I had no idea who that was. So people are asking, what do you want to say? I have nothing to say. I don't know who that was. He does that. That person was not part of my world until you
Yes.
put them in my world.
Yes.
That's what it means to be on your own timeline, to be in your own little bubble. It doesn't mean these things don't happen. It means that you may not be aware of them because they don't affect you. I had no idea that that happened until someone went out of their way to point it
Yeah.
out to me. And then all of a sudden now it's in my space,
Yes.
you know? But that's what an individual timeline feels like.
And that happens on many different levels. Like moms telling their kids, don't do that or you're going to fall and get hurt. Stop doing that. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get bam,
Right.
you get hurt.
Right. And also there's in psychology, something I learned in my undergraduate studies is no two siblings have the same parents because their experience of your parenting is going to be vastly different, especially if they're
100%.
different genders.
100%.
Right. And if they have big age gaps, their experience of childhood is likely to be very different from each other.
Yep.
And that's where you can get into the conflict of memories. Sometimes you'll have siblings arguing, well, dad never said that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he did. It's like stuff like that because you'll have these conflicts because they saw different aspects of you.
Yeah.
Again, another idea of that you can be siblings and be on different timelines. This is that idea. People get too esoteric when we talk about timelines. It doesn't mean you're going to float off into space, people.
Yeah.
This is just about where your focus is and what's in your environment.
What's
Curating
in your
that,
environment.
just like your TikTok algorithm, you just curate it.
Yes. Yeah, 100% buy into that. 100%. So is this why I felt literally so much lighter this morning? I would say yes.
Yes. And the day before the timeline jump, we had a massive push of release energy come through on the Italian graph. So everything really lined up. We had that push of energy of release on the Italian graph, and then we had the timeline jump, and then the equinox, one right after the other. Also, we had, I believe, an eclipse yesterday.
I
So
think so.
all of those things together, right?
should
They
know
all
that, but I
line
don't.
up for releasing old things, beginning something new. Yes, the side effects of timeline jumps like this, people tend to have a lot of personal Mandela effects. Someone will bring up a conversation to you and you're thinking to yourself, did I really talk about that? Like, there'll be you'll have doubles of things in your house or misplaced things suddenly show up. You'll be signed up to go volunteer to do something and you're like, I don't even know what that is. Like there's stuff like this that happens. Little tiny Mandela effects are typically how this tends to show
I love that. I'm going to share this one. May I ask a question regarding chakras?
Of course. Ask. Go for it.
Okay.
I'll tell you, the best explanation for chakras I ever saw was on Avatar: The Last Airbender cartoon.
I send that to clients all the time, especially if they're just getting into it. I'm like,
it is such a simple and clear explanation.
No,
it's like,
yes. Awesome. And he makes them eat the banana, apple, onion juice or something. Yes. I was like, ew.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh shit. Yeah, I love that. Okay. So headache. April says headache, ear ringing. Ear ringing is usually other dimensions in my experience. Crying has been huge for me. I have been very emotional, and not necessarily because my own feelings, because I'm aware. Let me just reword that. Not necessarily because I'm aware of my own feelings, but because I'm watching something and I'm like,
that ambient energy. So same thing. When we were at the parade to watch for my son's school, we were watching this parade and the Ukraine faction went by, and I all of a sudden was just teary, just crying. I could feel that weight. I don't know what that means.
I need help with that because your heart chakra is right there, sweetheart. It's right in the center of your chest. It is not something for purchase. So help us. Did you purchase did you purchase a crystal? Did you purchase a necklace? What was it you purchased? I would suspect it was something to help you open the heart chakra. If it was a crystal, you really don't have to activate it. Crystals have their own vibration. We'll have to wait till she gives us a little more on that. Okay. Crystal necklace. Okay. What kind of a crystal is it?
I'll tell you, crystals are not my area of expertise.
Okay. I do love me some crystals. I am like a crystal.
Oh, I love them. I just don't remember
chakra more, please. Personal mandala. Okay. So crystals. So what I do with crystals is if I know that they come from a place where there's a lot of really intense energy, like a crystal shop or something like that. Well, actually, I always do. I will sage them. So I will just like this necklace. I will when I wear it daily, so I try to cleanse it weekly, and I will just hold it over sage. I will just hold it over smoke, and so this one I'll show you what I do real quick because it's super easy. Kind of flame the size of Texas right there. So love my magnets. And I will just hold it. And it's like, oh my God. And I will just hold it and wait. And it will tell me. Should probably pull over here. There. So the fun thing about this is you could use this as a pendulum as well if you wanted to. But see how it's just kind of starting to relax a little bit with that energy. And then it'll tell you when it's done. Okay, I'm good. Don't need that anymore. You can do that with any of your crystals. You can do Reiki. If you're a Reiki practitioner, you can Reiki the energy. I gotta make sure I don't.
You can put it in a selenite bowl.
I have a selenite tower back there. I don't think I have it on. But I keep selenite wand on my computer here. I keep all my crystals next to it. That's a really good way to clear it and charge it. So there's lots of things you can do depending. But I always tell people when you first get them to cleanse them, especially because when you're in stores, crystal stores, everybody's wanting to touch it and you don't know what's in everybody's energy and you don't want it.
Right.
That's just my thing.
I agree.
So,
and people's energy is sticky.
Yeah, it is. That's like when you go in and you buy something from like an antique store and you bring that stuff home. Don't bring that in until you cleanse it. Just clear it. I do believe you can clear with your intentions. When I first started a lot of like ghost hunting kind of work kind of thing, somebody had mentioned something about holy water. And so I was just talking to my guides about it, and they said, you don't need a priest for holy water. It's simply an intention. So I was like, oh, babe, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, intention is everything. You are a sovereign being. And what we need to remember is you are number one in your energy. If you believe it, it will happen, right?
Yes,
Including
yes.
curses, right?
Which is really good because somebody just said that. Did you see
Right.
that?
Yes. I see Missy is asking, is there a spell on me? So I think, honestly, Missy, the bigger question is, why do you think there's a spell on you? And maybe start digging in there. My understanding of the way energy works is that law of attraction is one of the two strongest energies in this entire universe. And if someone says you're cursed and you go, oh my God, I'm cursed, law of attraction literally has nothing else to work with. And so it will show you reflections of reasons
Literally.
for you to believe that you are cursed. But if someone says you're cursed and you go, no, I'm good, then law of attraction has nothing to get its teeth into. It is all part of this. And there's a lot of power that comes in convincing someone that you have cursed them. And you're literally handing over your sovereignty to someone when you do that. So I would just encourage you to remember that you don't, you're not.
We're born with dominion. We are born with dominion, but we are tricked into believing we don't have it.
Well, and compliance is always rewarded in our society. The people who stand out are the ones who get ostracized.
Yes.
So we've also been brainwashed a hot second. So,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Missy says, yikes, creepy dolls. I actually think what's happening with creepy dolls, haunted dolls, and things like that is you know how you can take a plant and you can say, I love you so much, and you can give it love and you can say all these things, and that energy is creating a healthier plant. And then you can take another plant and you can be horrible to it and it kills it. You're throwing your energy at something. It is a real thing. I believe it wholeheartedly.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's what's happening to things that people think are haunted. Enough people have thrown their energy at it. And I do believe that as a psychic or a medium or an intuitive, when you walk by that energy, like, oh, this thing thinks it's evil. It needs cleared. Sage that shit.
Hmm.
Clear that energy. So that's how powerful we are, though.
Yes, I love Esther Hicks when she says, "You are so powerful and so free that you can choose bondage."
Yeah.
And that's what we tend to do. We convince ourselves that we are powerless when we actually have all the power.
Yeah.
And, that's not to say that things are going to just magically happen because they don't. We do live in a world with physical rules and physical reality, and we got to squeeze it in through there. But the more you believe in something for yourself, the more it will happen. And I am quite literally living proof with all these signs I've asked for in the last week. Like,
Yeah.
for real, like, that's amazing.
Yeah. No kidding. And they're responding rather quickly for you. Sometimes it may take days, even possibly weeks, but they're like, got you.
Yeah. And I made it a game, which is my favorite part.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm gonna oops, I didn't mean to do that. Where'd she go? Oh, right there. It is a little tricky giving numbers and stuff. Where'd she go? Okay. Oh, so Casey, you're actually at a precipice, what I just heard. So I'm going to give you the number 9, but it's because you're getting ready to close a chapter and another chapter is getting ready to open. I do get a lot of intense energy on the right side of my head with that. I'm not quite sure what that's going to symbolize for you. Okay. All right.
Something I want to say to everybody in this room is you look at Melissa and you look at me and you're probably thinking, oh, they have it all together. They communicate so well with your guides. Let me tell you something. My guides are kind of jerks sometimes, and they definitely have a sense of humor. I was in this wonderful state. I'm like meditating. I'm in this wonderful state. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to receive some great information. And I heard, wait. What? Wait. What? I'm sorry. Did you say wait? Like, wait for what? Like, it's not helpful. There's stuff like that
More.
happens all the time. You got to have a sense of humor with this stuff. You
Oh,
have
my
to be
Lord
light.
Jesus.
You have to be fun with it. You have to not be so serious about
Yeah.
everything.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it and be
Enjoy what they
silly.
share with you.
The more you are
Absolutely.
silly with it, the more you put that fun into it, the faster and easier it will flow for you. When you are trying so hard to figure something out, you can't figure it out because you're trying too hard to figure it
Oh,
out.
yeah.
And that is so counterintuitive feeling
That's the
because
rule to mediumship. That's like 101 mediumship is it's not my job to know everything. It is my job to get my ass out of the way so spirit can come through. And so you got to let whatever comes.
yeah,
It may
yeah,
feel
and
crazy to
sometimes
you,
it's really weird.
but sometimes it's super weird.
But listen,
Shoot.
crazy people don't think they're crazy. So
I'm
if you're
on
asking
to that.
yourself if you're crazy, then you're probably okay, you
For,
know?
for years, I sure thought I was. When I first started this journey, I had learned that we have guides, which was a whole new concept for my brain. So I was asking them all kinds of questions, and at one point, I wanted to know James, my main guide, about my connection with him. And I think we've talked about this that when they give us names, it is not the soul's name, it's the name they've had with you in a past life. That's my experience. That's my experience with my guides and with James
Yeah.
specifically. And he had told me that I wasn't ready to learn about our history. And I'm a Scorpio. I was like,
Mm,
yeah, yes, I am.
yes, I am.
And so they told me I wasn't ready. I found out that I was married to him in a past life and I had died in his arms and I had been shot. And I actually have a birthmark on my chest that looks like shotgun splatter, which is quite interesting. And then he was kind of sharing more about our relationship and I wasn't ready. I felt like I was cheating on my husband. I was like, that is not
Right.
okay.
It's an
So,
interesting thing. Yes. And, part of the earth school, right? Part of karma is to experience everything. So, in
yeah.
order for us to do that, we have to be everything. You your higher self has had an incarnation where it was a total jerk. Your
Yeah.
higher self has hurt people
You
purposely.
have
Your
hurt people.
higher self has had incarnations doing that. That doesn't mean that you, Melissa, did that. That
No.
means that there's some other version of you. And the only way to experience and learn from that is to experience it,
Yeah.
And a lot of time
Yeah.
that's where my understanding of karma comes from, is you're balancing out the lesson. If you have a life experience on one
Yes.
plane where, let's say, you're famous, right? And you are running from the press all the time and you feel like you never have any alone time and you're totally trying to get away from people. In another life experience, you may have a life where you're totally by yourself. That
Yes.
is the two extremes of that. And so
Yes.
learning to work with that, you come to the center and you meet balance with that. And then
Yeah.
the lesson is learned and you move
Yes.
on.
And that's true karma. A lot of people think karma is a punishment, karma is a bitch. Nope.
No,
No, karma
karma
is
is
simply a balancer. That's all
karma
she
is
is.
she's neutral. She does not care. She's
Yeah.
just going to give you what you need to learn the lesson.
Yeah. That's
But
like the soul too. The soul doesn't judge, just so you guys know. The soul doesn't label experiences as good or bad. It's the human that does that. The soul
right,
doesn't. The soul sees it as, oh, I'm going to get blown up in this lifetime. I mean,
right, right.
so it's a lesson. Woohoo.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then,
I've heard so many people who've had near death experiences talk about going into the life review and how there's this. I heard this one woman say that she was watching this and she was feeling these emotions as she's watching it. And she realized in that moment that it was nothing. It was not source judging her. It was her judging her. And
ah,
when she recognized that, she let go of the judgment and it was just a recognition of, oh, this didn't work. This did work. This didn't work. This did work.
yes,
Kind of like sorting things out after a
yes,
test or something,
yeah.
But
How
there's
cool
no
is that?
judgment. It's
No,
just how it is.
yeah,
The
yeah,
sky is blue, the sky is green. Great, doesn't matter.
yeah. I've never been shown judgment from the other side.
Right.
Never. It's always love. It's always, we just want you to be the best you can be, we nurture you, help
That
you be here.
contrast is part of the human experience.
Yes.
That's why the earth school is such a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But that's what the contrast is for. And when people pass on, they lose that contrast. When I communicate with my dad, all of the contrast that we experienced in this physical life, because he had alcoholism and all these issues, he no longer has that. So I'm
No.
communicating with the purest version of him, the version that's just love, the version that's joy, the version that wants to see me successful and happy. He
Yeah.
left all of that behind. And when you can remember that in your communication, it can change your relationships with people.
I so love that you brought that up because I think I'm always talking about my relationship with my dad and how it's better now that he's in spirit than when he
Hmm.
was alive. And people sometimes kind of look at me like, you're high. And I don't do drugs, just for the record, and I don't drink. Um, but I think it's important for people to know that you can build that connection with them
Absolutely.
on the other side. And so when you brought that up, I was like, oh, yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. And we all can do that. You don't have to be a medium or an intuitive psychic. I mean, I don't
Right.
know if you call yourself a psychic. Do
I
you?
don't know. That word has such a weird connotation to me because it makes
It's
me
soul.
think of like someone not so great.
I know.
um,
It means psychic is the Greek word for soul of the mind.
yeah, I tend to just call myself a frequency coach because I work so much in frequency.
Oh, love that. I love that. I'm just going to give some numbers here really quick. Uh, oh, you've got something going on, dear Deborah. I wanted to distort my face. I don't know what the fuck that was about. Do you have something going on with your jaw? You can communicate with your dad, Miss Missy. You 100%. I tell people you do not need a medium to communicate. I don't want to put my ass out of a job, but at the same time, it is so important that people know that you can do that. The only difference between us is I believe and trust what I get because I've had enough experiences. So I would say start journaling, write it down when you new teeth, new teeth. Okay, it's funny. My jaw was like all cockeyed. Well, congratulations on new teeth. Okay. Um, Anyway, you can communicate with your dad. Sit in silence, get yourself a journal, write down all the things you're feeling. And at first, it might feel weird. And I just tell people if it feels weird, just don't tell anybody.
Yeah, you don't have to tell anybody.
Oh, that's funny. Deborah birthed here. So the number I gave her was her birth year. Okay, funny that I should do that for you. So 24 is my birth date. So whenever I see 24, I always know, okay, I'm in alignment. I'm doing what I came here to do because that's the day I was born. So I had a journey. So me giving you your number, it makes me feel like you need to know that you are doing what you came here to do. This is part of your journey, whatever. So if you're questioning yourself, which is big right now, I think, but that is about validation. So please, I mean, I would look it up also numerologically, but still trust that that's your validation, that you're where you need to be. Okay. I'm going to pull this one up here. Yes. So Rochelle, can I share your story a little bit? I don't want to, and I'll wait for her to answer. If I can share your story here, I would, and you're okay with that, let me know. I'm not going to answer that yet. I'll come back to it. I know. It's like watching grass grow. It's like, come on, come on. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So Rochelle and I met many, many years ago. Her husband had passed and she had come to one of my group events. And then a few years ago, her son was in a coma. And so I went and sat with him and their family. And I didn't know her family, but I only knew her just through, conversations. And he was sharing so much information with everybody about their childhood and the things that made them laugh and the things that they enjoyed. And one of the things where she says, he told me during that moment that she didn't need me to communicate with him because he needed her to know that she could do that with him without me. And that I think is important for all of us to know because sometimes we don't want a third person hearing all our shit. We just want to go direct to the source. And so the beautiful thing is you can. You can go direct to the source. You can go straight to your loved ones. What I do is I ask ego to step aside. So sometimes it can be a little more difficult when we know it's our own family because we already have predetermined ideas of what we think they're going to say. Get rid of that shit and trust what they really do say because they usually don't say what the ego self was going to say. Does that make sense? Because they're operating from a much higher power. They're operating from a much more beautiful, clearer state of being. So their messages to you are going to be a lot different. They will still come through, like when I'm doing a reading, they'll come through and show me what their personality was like, but that's not where they're operating from anymore. They're operating from pure love. Okay. Angela, I am going to give you bad news. I hear not yet. So if you're wanting that to happen, do some more work. But I hear not yet. Okay. Sorry, honey. All right. Shall we go? I'm a bearer of wonderful news today. Okay. All right. Do we have any other things we want to share? I still have a list, but I don't know how much husband's
No,
waiting.
I think I'm good.
Are you good? Okay. Oh, well, you're welcome, Missy. Okay. So I have a list for next time.
Awesome. That sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay. Thank you for letting me throw some numbers out there while we were doing this.
Of course. I'm
Okay.
just happy to be here. That's all, I'm happy to be here.
It's fun.
For anyone who knows who she is, I will give you all a little tidbit of a sneak peek of something. I don't know if you know who Reiki Rachel is, but
No.
so she's on YouTube. She does free Reiki on YouTube all the time. And she is the very first person that I found that I actually could physically feel the energy as she was doing the work. She's very, very good at it. She does it for free.
That's awesome.
I am going to be doing a collaboration with her, and I'm so excited. And it'll be done on a seasonal basis. So for each turning of the seasons, we're going to have a live where we're going to talk about, she will do an activation, an energy activation for everyone. And then I'll talk about the
That's
energy
fabulous.
patterns, and then we'll answer questions about it. It'll be live. It'll be very exciting. And there's only going to be four occurrences. So make sure to keep your eye out.
That's going to be quarterly?
It's on with every season. So we
Okay.
have the first one's in October because for fall. Then
Yes.
we'll do one for winter, we'll do one for spring, and one for summer.
Fabulous. And you will let us know.
Yes, it'll be on my Patreon channel. So if you guys,
Okay.
if you're interested in following me, Patreon is where I send out my very first everything. Any first notifications go there. So make sure you're checking out there.
Awesome. Okay. Well, you guys, that was fun. Thank you so much for joining. I will also post this. What did we decide on? Podcast on Patreon. So I'll share this over there also. for
Yay,
additional-
Shannon, that's awesome.
What did I can't, where's Shannon? Oh, I found Rachel because of Erin. Aw.
She's great. And it's
That's
free.
awesome.
It's free. She does it for free.
Hey, I know. And that's huge, you guys, because it takes a lot of energy to do that.
It
work.
really, really does.
So if you are going to her and she's doing this for free, just please reciprocate any way you can. Either pay it forward to somebody else, and obviously make sure that you're thanking her. And because it does take a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It absolutely does. Okay.
Yeah. And next time, you guys, think of your questions. Bring your questions. We want to talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. I'm not necessarily doing readings, but if you have questions about energy, frequency, vibration, law of attraction, manifestation, quantum mechanics, why does quantum mechanics work? What is quantum? You bring your questions. I'll nerd out with you. I'm happy to talk about that. That's where my greatest gifts lie, is in bridging quantum mechanics and like physical science and metaphysical science. So bring your questions.
That's fabulous. So now I'll think of some more for next time, and we'll get some pre-planned questions. Okay.
That sounds awesome.
And I'll do a better job of promoting it, because this time was crazy. It was like, oh shit.
That's all right. It works out the way it should.
It always does. I believe that. All right. I'm going to answer this last question because April is asking if we see any karma coming for her husband. And we literally just said that's not how karma works. Karma is a balancer. So if he's being super naughty, then he's going to have to balance that. But it's not going to be a punishment. It's just going to be the soul says, oh, I did this. That has to be balanced. Maybe we can talk about universal laws next time.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, kids. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Yes.